Hi guys, my name is Akshay and I am a manifestation coach. All my contact info is in the description. Today we are gonna talk about the most guaranteed, foolproof method to manifest what you want successfully. And this is a really important video. In my opinion, this is one of the most important videos that I have made with respect to how to manifest successfully. And for that, we first need to define what is success in manifestation. I need you to be very attentive today. This is a very important video. We need to define what is success in manifestation. Say you're manifesting $100,000. So naturally, it would be very normal for you to think that when I get $100,000 in my hand or in a suitcase or in my bank account, when it shows up in my life, that is when the manifestation has happened successfully, right? So when the result shows up in my three-dimensional world, in my life, that is when I have manifested successfully. That is a good answer, but that is the incorrect answer. And I'm going to prove it today, Success in manifestation does not mean that you got it in the 3D. Because if you are going to define this, the manifestation showing up in the 3D, if you're going to define that as success, then until it shows up in the 3D, you are going to notice the lack of it. And you are going to be feeling the absence of the manifestation until it shows up. So basically, the 3D is deciding whether or not you manifested successfully. That is the incorrect way. That is the incorrect answer. Success in manifestation happens when you move from a feeling of lack to a feeling of fulfillment. In every person's manifestational journey, there is a tipping point where that person assumes a different biochemistry almost. That person becomes a different animal. It is a sort of a mental, emotional, physical metamorphosis. I call it the tipping point. I also like to call it the point where the monster became unleashed. That is where, at this point, when the person assumes a different identity, and the feeling within them flips, that is where the successful manifestation happens. It is not when it shows up in the 3D. It happens at that point of time when that person assumes a different identity, when that person assumes that it is done, when that person successfully manages to make the leap from lack to fulfillment, from lack to abundance. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to use some classic Neville examples as well as a few contemporary analogies. Neville Goddard was drafted into the army. He wanted to go home. He didn't want to be part of the army, but he didn't want to be, a runaway. He didn't want to just sneak out and run away from the army. He wanted to be discharged with honor. And his commanding officer, he said no. Okay. And he denied Neville's application for honorable discharge. Okay. And Neville is like, he never probably got triggered. Okay. But what he did was he shut himself, okay, to what was happening around him. Okay. And within him, he imagined that the application had been approved. And he imagined till his imagination became more real to him than what was happening around him. Okay, and he had a vision wherein he saw that the application was approved, and he heard a voice saying that I have done what I have done, now do nothing. And after that, Neville became almost aloof and oblivious to what was happening around him. Okay, and after a few days, I think it was 9 or 10 days, the commanding officer summoned him and granted him discharge. You might think that the manifestation happened successfully when Neville got his application approved. No. The manifestation happened when Neville saw it in his mind. Okay, and saw himself at home with his wife in his apartment. Okay, and kept on seeing it and enjoying that calmness, that relaxed feeling of already having accomplished. I have done what I have done, now do nothing. That was the tipping point. That was when Neville became a different animal. That was when the monster was unleashed. Okay. Same thing. Neville lost his bag at the airport. It was his wife's bag containing a lot of valuables. Neville was frustrated and bickering and bitching about his circumstances. Like, oh, they keep showing it in the news and I've been watching too much news and that's how I manifested this, blah, 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 blah. However, he said, I am a manifestation coach. What am I doing? So he went and sat in another room. Okay, he was tossing and turning in bed thinking about the lost bag. He went and sat in another room. Okay, and he imagined that the bag was not lost, that in fact he was holding it in his hand. He was not thinking about, oh, there are so many people at the airport, there's so much baggage, how will they find it? Nothing. He held it in his hand, in his imagination. And when he was absolutely sure that he held it, he read the Bible for a while and went to sleep. Okay. After a few days, the thief contacted him. He told him where the bag was. He said he was feeling guilty that he stole it, blah, blah, blah. Neville informed the authorities and they retrieved the lost bag for him. Okay. You might think that the successful manifestation happened when Neville retrieved the lost bag and, they brought it to him basically. And that is when the manifestation happened successfully. No. The manifestation happened successfully at the tipping point when Neville stopped bickering about his problems, brooding over the incident, when he stopped doing that and assumed that he had found the lost bag. Okay? If Neville would have waited that when I get the bag in my three-dimensional world, that is when I will believe that yes, I manifested it. No. If he would have defined success as getting it in the 3D, then until the bag would have shown up, he would have been bickering over and over, oh, it's not happening, and it wouldn't have shown up. So he decided in his mind that the bag had been found. That is the tipping point, okay? The point where Neville assumes a different mood, a different personality, almost a different character. Goes from bickering to being really unworried and relaxed and happy that the bag is found. That tipping point is where the manifestation happens successfully, because if it happens there, okay, then it has to manifest in the 3D. Okay, but if it's not happening there, it will not. I hope this is making sense to you. Neville's brother, okay, so Neville's dad, okay, he was basically kicked out of the company that he founded, okay, and Neville's brother had a very, very intense desire to see his name on that company building, okay. But he was he was not exactly penniless, but he didn't have the money to buy one of the most towering structures in that area, okay. It cost millions of dollars probably back then, or in today's money, okay. So what he did was, since he had no way to take any sort of action, okay, he just couldn't afford it. What he did was, he saw his name on the building, even though his name was not on the building. He kept seeing it in his mind. Even though he had no money, nothing, he was not the owner. He kept seeing his name on the building. And few days after that, the building was being auctioned off, and a good Samaritan offered to loan Neville's brother the money to buy the building out of nowhere. Okay, you might think that the building got manifested successfully, when he got the loan and purchased the building. No, the building got manifested successfully when he kept seeing his name on the building. Even though he had no money to buy it, he was not the owner. There was no evidence to convince him logically that he was the owner. No, there was absolutely no evidence. The only evidence was Neville's brother's own conviction. There was a family, a doctor couple, okay, who wanted an apartment on their plot. They didn't have the money for it. They had savings, but they did not want to risk their life savings for an apartment, okay. And what they decided is that they are going to manifest it, okay. And in their mind, they laid out the plans, and the building was already at that moment constructed. And they rented out everything to the tenants. And everybody was happy and prospering and living really well in their apartment. And everybody was congratulating them on having acquired an apartment. In their mind, initially it felt different. But after a while, they became really used to that feeling. It became natural to them. That is when the successful manifestation happened. And a builder, he built it for them basically with his own money. And they paid him back, by collecting money from the tenants. They paid him back using rent money. So do you understand that the successful manifestation happened within their mind first, within themselves? It changed something within them, because the builder before that offered them that you could take a loan from the bank. I can help you to take a loan from the bank. They said, nothing, nothing. We don't want to do anything. We are not going to make any down payment to get the loan. We don't, in their mind, the building was already built and the universe did not need any help from them to have it constructed. Okay. So the successful manifestation happened in their mind. Okay, if they would have waited, oh, like, in my head, it's successfully done, but it's still not here. I don't know what's happening. Like, what am I doing wrong? They're like, no, it's done. Sounds so foolish to people who don't understand the concept, right? Every successful person has said the same thing, really. Every successful person. Bill Gates, he was in Harvard and he left it to create software. And can you imagine the guts that it takes to say that this is not cutting it for me, man? Like, Harvard is not what I want. I'm going to make software. That is the turning point when he became successful. Not when he became officially the richest man in the world or, one of the richest people on the planet. No. That was when the manifestation happened successfully. There's a guy called David Goggins. Okay, he's one of the most elite athletes, probably. And when it comes to inspiring people, he is undoubtedly the hardest man on the planet. Okay, he told his story wherein he was a pest exterminator. Okay, and so he was cleaning properties at night, getting rid of pests, and he was fat and he was very unfit and very lazy and unfocused and unmotivated. And he told that he was driving the company car, going around cleaning, places, getting rid of roaches and mice and rats and stuff. Okay, so one day he hit the mother load of cockroaches, and so he was sitting down and he contemplated his life. He was sitting down when the place was overrun with roaches, and he thought about the life he was living, living just barely paycheck to paycheck, driving the company car, just stuffing his face with donuts every day so that he had something to make him feel good about life. And he'd been avoiding, so many challenges all his life. He wanted to be a Navy SEAL, but he couldn't do that. And he because he was unfit. Okay, but that was when he decided that he was going to be a Navy SEAL. Okay, and it was a grueling time for him after that. Okay, he lost almost 100 pounds in 100 days, man. Okay, he did something incredible after that. Okay, so from being like extremely overweight to becoming a Navy SEAL, even though the training and everything was so difficult for him because he was so terribly unfit and he had just a very little window. Okay, otherwise he would have gotten too old. So he lost 100 pounds in 3 months or something. Okay, and he couldn't swim because his body is negative buoyant, and he just spent hours in the water, man. Hours in the water. He has problems. He cannot read. So he has, in order to memorize something, he has to write down everything. So he just started writing his books, man, by hand. And yes, finally he did become Navy SEAL, and he's, I think, one of the few people in the US who's been active in the Air Force, the military, and the Navy. And you might think that, yes, his manifestation happened when he successfully completed the program and became a Navy SEAL. No, it did not happen then. It happened when he was sitting on the floor of that establishment that he was cleaning, and that place was overrun with cockroaches. Okay, and he was sitting there probably crying, thinking about his life, and then he made the decision to change it. That was the turning point. That was the point where the monster was unleashed within him. It was at that moment when he became the hardest man on the planet. Okay, the kind that you don't want to go up against. The tipping point happens within you. The change in personality is something that happens within you. Okay, so that is what guarantees the success of your manifestation. Okay, that metamorphosis, when I say unleash the power within you, that is exactly what I mean. And there are various techniques to get to that tipping point, to that turning point within you. Okay, and I'm not taking anything away from techniques, okay, but ultimately it is a biochemical process. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to get there is to imagine to the point of satisfaction, to make your imagination so real to you that it literally changes something within your personality. When you don't have money, okay, and you visualize that you're leading a luxurious lifestyle, you're teaching your body and mind to be a different person. Your neurons are firing differently at that time. You're teaching yourself to be a different person. That is where something flips within you when you imagine intensely to the point of satisfaction, or affirm with a feeling. Do an affirmation with a feeling to the point of satisfaction. And once that illogical confidence is born within you, that is when you know that your manifestation is inevitable. Okay? I hope that this video resonated with you. If you like the video, please hit like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. I would really like to know what you think of this video. So I love reading your comments. Okay. So thank you. Unleash the power within you. And remember that if I said it, I already did it. Thank you.